things like that. Let's see how that plays out before we once again decide the coach has got to go. At some point, the players also have to play. It is their profession. They need to be professional. And all this talk of losing the team, if you're not going to go out there and play and earn your check, then you shouldn't be on the team anyway, and they should be looking to cut you, no matter who you are or what position you play. My opinion. Other people have other opinions. But again, thanks for your insight there, David. Some good, some I agree with, and some very interesting. I can understand the frustration as a Lions fan. It almost seems like as Lions fans each week, no matter what, and a buddy of mine was giving me some slack this week, it's always like we're waiting for the bottom to fall out. We're waiting for that bad thing to happen. So we don't spend too much time acknowledging the good things that are currently going on. So, you guys got the good quarterback. You got some good players on defense, some young youth there. You're doing some good things to move out of what Chip Kelly did. Let's see how it plays. And if a change needs to be made, I agree. Doug Peterson is probably the first one to go. All right, let's move on to a 49ers fan, Dave Morgan. 49ers fan Dave Morgan. He says the only thing he's curious about at this point in the season is who they're going to take with the second pick in the draft. And now, most likely, Dave, you're right. Most likely they do end up with that second pick. It's not very likely at this point that they don't end up with that pick. And where do we start with the 49ers? They definitely need a quarterback. They definitely need to focus in on those trenches, both offense and defensive lines. They've been serviceable this year, but they haven't been great. They got a running back that I think is going to be okay in Carlos Hyde. Now you need a change of pace back. You need a different style back to complement him in this NFL. Especially with Chip Kelly, still running the regime there and looking like he's going to come back next year. I think they need that other guy. They need to go out and find another piece. They need to go find a quarterback. Kaepernick, I wouldn't bring him back. He hasn't shown anything ability-wise this season to show that he really should be a starting quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, and neither has Blaine Gabbert. If you want one of them to be your backup and they're willing to restructure their deal to have backup money, like not this new elite backup money, but just backup money, okay, you can keep them around because they know the system. And most likely they do finish with that second pick. They need better play calling, I think. They need better coaching. They need a quarterback. They need O-line. They could use something else there, the receiver option. Tight end, really. I mean, the 49ers are in a position right now where they need to shuffle some chips. They need to, if they're going with Chip Kelly's system, they need to go all in with Chip Kelly's system, let him try and ride it out one more time with his decisions. Trent Baalke, the GM, could be leaving. So who knows what's going to happen there. Different mock drafts have guys like the quarterback from UNC, Mitch Trubisky, being picked, or Jonathan Allen, the defensive end from Alabama, Reuben Foster, the linebacker out of Alabama, Deshaun Watson, quarterback out of Clemson. So most likely you're going to see them, if they're in that second pick, look to improve their quarterback position. It's a quarterback-driven league. It's the splash player. It's a position of need for them. Would I go that route? I don't know if I would pick any of these guys that high in this draft as of right now. I haven't really got into a lot of my draft prep yet. But I'm not seeing anything out of this year's quarterback class that would make me want to pick any of them in the top 10. I don't see any of them starting their first year or maybe even their second year. I see a lot of development that needs to happen for all of them. And that's something where you're a team that needs to turn things around fast like the 49ers do. They need to turn it back around just as fast as it went south for them. And being a defensive guy, I would like to see them get that defense back to where it was playing just a few seasons ago. They were beasts. They had speed. They covered side to side. and they really dominated with their front seven, and that made it easy to plug and play anybody in their secondary. They didn't have a dominating secondary on those defenses, but their front seven didn't give up anything. And if they can get back to that, maybe, that gives Chip Kelly's offense a chance to run enough plays to get in enough momentum to work something out. We'll have to see. But again, thanks, Dave, for writing into the show. I appreciate that. That's Dave Morgan, 49ers fan, reaching out to the show. And lastly, let's get to a Giants fan, as they do play my Lions today. I think this game should have been flexed to the evening game. It's been talked about all week as the game that affects the playoff race the most this weekend. But, they went with Dallas and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's trying to get into the wild card hunt. Dallas is in the playoffs. I guess that's a more exciting matchup than New York and Detroit. Anyway, Lisa Marie, and I'm not going to try and do the last name because I might butcher it, but Lisa Marie, Giants fan, thank you for writing into the show and responding to our post out there. And she says, "Hey, KP, our Giants are headed in the right direction. We just need to hopefully win the remainder of the games that we have to play. LOL." That's true. You guys, I picked the Giants at the beginning of the season to win that division. I don't know if that's quite going to happen at this point. It could. If Dallas is upset tonight, there's definitely a chance. I do think Dallas loses to Detroit next week. I think that matchup kind of suits us a little bit. I don't, however, think that the Giants are going to pull one out today. No, not. I think today's game could go either way very easily, depending on whose game plan works out the best. If the Giants are on point like they were last week against Dallas and they play that style of game, it's going to be very hard for Detroit to do what they have to do today to get a win. Now, is that the only thing the Giants need to do to win out the rest of the games? Sure, that's all anybody in the playoff hunt's got to do, right? Everybody wins out, they get the little Super Bowl ring, championship, celebration, parade, excitement, fandom, bandwagoners, all that kind of stuff that goes with it, right? So, what I think the Giants actually have to do, they're going to have to get top games out of Eli. This is the time where Eli needs to come alive. He needs to control the offense, and he needs to make some of those where did that play come from type things happen. JPP's down. He was really helping the pass rush out. Vernon's kind of been here and there throughout the season. They're going to need him to really be there the rest of the season. They're going to need that secondary to play as good as they do against Dallas, against everybody. Jennings is going to need to stay healthy so he can give them a little boost in the running game week to week. And you're going to have to see them go on a similar run to the years where they beat New England in the Super Bowls, where some things just fall in line for them. And that's really every team at this time of year. You need some things to fall your way. You need to make some plays that necessarily shouldn't have been made. I think the Giants still make the playoffs. I think they're probably going to win 2 of their last 3 games. Something like that. If they win 1, they still have a chance of making the playoffs. That would make them finish the season at 10-6. Still right there in the thick of it, depending on how things break down. Well, I think it's something more like 11-5 for the Giants as a finishing record this year. And I think they're doing great. I think right now they've set themselves up in a good position, minus the walkie-talkie thing last week. And I'd like to not see anything like that in today's game. As a conspiracy theorist enthusiast, if that makes sense, I enjoy conspiracy theories. They're fun. The Lions and Giants game was given a controversial ref who has made bad calls against the Lions before. And if you think about what the implications of this playoff potential game, could be, it's almost like the NFL did this because they'd rather see the Giants in the playoffs than the Lions. conspiracy theory. No, I'm not saying anything's going to happen. It's just one of those fun things that the media can just put out there and people can talk about. But no, today's going to be a good game. I think this is a matchup of two 9-4 teams that are, kind of evenly matched. These are two decent teams that can pretty much compete against anybody in the NFL when they're on point, and when they're not, they can lose to some bad teams. So again, thank you to all of the fans, Lisa Marie, David, Dave Morgan, David Rodriguez, Dean, and Ryan for writing in. We're gonna start doing a lot more of this, getting the fans involved, and giving them some shout for being part of the show, and doing what we got to do, being real with it, right? All right, let's get into let's preview some of the games